Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. With the Modern Warfare 3 Warzone integration, obviously we are seeing a ton of major gameplay updates. In some videos here recently, we've gone through several of the big components that are going to be updated or changed with Warzone when MW3 integrates in early December. So if you want the full details, the full rundown with all the broad overviews for everything, feel free to go and check out those videos. But today I wanted to focus on something very specific that is going to be ultimately a pretty drastic change to Warzone gameplay, and that is the new perk/gear update in the way that it's being done, which is a little bit different from what you might expect when you hear that there is going to be a gear/perk update for MW3 Warzone. So as we get into the details, if you enjoy the video, if you find it informative or helpful, do me a favor and drop a like on it. It really does help grow the channel. And if you're new here or you have not subscribed yet, every single day I'm your one-stop shop for all things going on in COD. So feel free to hit that subscribe button and turn on those post notifications to guarantee you are always in the know. But obviously, with MW3, we are seeing a revamp to the perk system in multiplayer, and it's becoming this sort of perk and gear and vest hybrid system. Personally, I like the system's updates, from what we got to experience in the beta and what we got to experiment around with the different vests and some of the perk options that we had available. I think it's a really cool way to sort of define how you want your gameplay to feel, whether you want to go all in on mobility or you want to go all in on playing a bit more tactical with, doubling up on your guns, limiting what equipment you can use, doubling up on gear maybe. I think there's a lot of really unique ways to go about it. I'm definitely a big fan of it. However, the system for Warzone is going to be very different, even though it is directly connected to Modern Warfare 3 and the vests and the gear available there. And luckily, Benny Central and Xbox On actually sat down with Ted Timmons, one of the leads over at Raven for Warzone, and we got a lot more clarification on how exactly this system is still going to work going into MW3 Warzone, because it's almost like it's a mashup here with some new innovations in some places, but still some constants from what we know of Warzone now. So what Ted Timmons basically goes on to explain in this interview, and I'll leave the full link to the video down in the description below. They talk about a lot more than just the perks and the gear system here. So if you're interested, by all means, feel free to go and check that out after you've watched this one. But perks are still going to be the main thing in Warzone, and that's the big thing to note right away. In multiplayer, it's not really called perks, it's the vests and it's the gloves and it's the overall gear system, right? Even though the vests and the gloves and the boots are still doing what perks do, it's just been rebranded to fit the sort of revamp that they're going for. Warzone, though, is still going to be these perk packages that we've had throughout the year with Warzone 2. So you can mash up a couple of those, and for the most part, in Warzone 2, it's been a pretty constant stream of the same perks being quote-unquote meta for the year for the most part. A few changes here and there based on buffs and nerfs, but we all know what the go-to perks are for most situations now. But what they were going for here is the sort of continuity between multiplayer with MW3 and Warzone with the integration update when it comes to movement and how weapons feel. So the base movement of MW3 is obviously much better, at least in my opinion. It's a subjective term, I know, but the movement's a lot more aggressive than in years past, with MW2. We're going back to slide canceling. We got the tack stance. We've got the more fast-paced movement, more arcadey-like movement, similar to MW 2019 and Warzone 1. Alongside the weapon feels with the lower visual recoil, low recoil in general, it's a bit more laser beam-like for some weapons over range and whatnot. Again, similar to Warzone 1 in a lot of ways. So base right out of the gate, you're gonna have various different things from MW3's perk movement and gear system applied to your character. So things like slide canceling and the tack stance and whatnot are going to be available outright. It's not like it's going to be exactly like Warzone 2 now, and you're going to have to stack a perk on there to get slide canceling back or anything like that. No, outright the movement system at its core is changing, which is fantastic news. But with the perk system, this is where things get kind of interesting. Overall, Ted Timmons explains that the development team feels like perks are currently in a very good place in Warzone. They've found a decent balance for them, although like I said, I do feel like the perk meta is a little bit monotonous here and there because it's sort of the rotation of the same perks constantly, but they feel like they have a pretty good balance for things. They like the perk package system as well, where you could drop your perk packages in game. You could stow multiple if you're trying to switch out, you know, late game you want to get Ghost, but then you want to switch back to, say, High Alert or something. You can do so. You can find them in the world and pick up those perk packages from chests. They're happy with what they've done there with the changes they've made over the past year or so. They're also happy with the current vest system that we have in Warzone, which is not the same vest system as in multiplayer. Obviously, multiplayer's vests for overkill or for doubling up on gear. In Warzone, the vest system is having like the medic vest or the comms vest or the ghost vest, obviously allowing you to have those extra perks without needing to run, you know, tune up for that faster revive or ghost to stay off the minimap. You can really upgrade your overall arsenal, I guess, in your kit by finding those vests in game, and it does add in an RNG element to it for sure. So the devs have said they liked all that stuff, and if they were to change to this gear system with the boots and the gloves and the vest like multiplayer, they'd basically be throwing all of that away and having to start from the ground up to balance things with the vests and with the gear. So while those are not transferring into Warzone here, Ted Timmons did officially confirm that several perk benefits of what the vests and gear and boots and gloves offer in multiplayer are going to be going into Modern Warfare 3 Warzone if they fit in Warzone gameplay and if they fit in Battle Royale gameplay without being obviously super broken or, on the inverse, completely useless, right? Now, the downside here is that they did not go into specifics with what perk benefits would be transferring into Warzone that we could use on our custom perk packages or maybe see as vests at some point in the future as well. But they did confirm that yes, multiple perks from Modern Warfare 3 multiplayer will end up in Warzone, just not under their classification of being, you know, a select boot or a certain glove or a certain vest. So we're going to obviously get those details once we see a full reveal for the integration update, or we have more hands-on with that at a later point in time. But this is definitely a cool update, and one that definitely has had a lot of confusion surrounding it up until this point. I know I've seen a lot of concern as to how exactly movement is going to work if we can't stack things up like we can in multiplayer with certain boots and certain gloves sort of going all in on mobility or stuff like that. So this is definitely a nice little hybrid system that we've got going on, and I do imagine that throughout the year we're going to see even more innovations in the area of vests with other benefits potentially. We're seeing more perks added to the you know, overall meta there, so you can mix and match more. Personally, I'd also love to see just straight up individual perks return like we had back in Warzone 1 with the lootable perks. So you could have your perk package of 3 or 4 select perks, but then find, you know, an extra 1, 2, or 3 in game out of chests or by doing contracts or something. I thought that was a really cool update towards the end of Warzone 1, and I personally would love to see that return rather than just having those pre-built and preset perk packages drop, because sometimes it's like, oh, this perk package that I found out of the chest has a really good perk 3, but I don't like having strong arm on there, or I don't want to have tracker on there. I'd rather have this or that. So it's kind of like trading off there with the RNG for sure. Either way, hopefully this clarifies a little bit more as to what to expect with the gear system and perk system update that we've got for MW3 Warzone. If it did help you out, or if you simply enjoyed the video, do me a favor, drop a like on it. And if you're new here, you want to guarantee you're up to date with absolutely everything going on in Call of Duty, be sure to hit that subscribe button on your way out. But once again, thank you so much for tuning in, and until next time, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll catch you later. Peace out.